Alright, welcome back to One Piece Anime Review episode 198. This is the 976th episode of the anime Back to the Present Beyond 20 years. Well, 20 years later. Yep, back to present day 20 years later. Which they kind of show the future, but only for a little bit. Yeah. I love the title for this one. Back to present day. You could say it's almost a nod to Back to the Future. And of course, I will cover the 1000th and 14th chapter of the manga. Yep. This episode finishes up chapter 973, adapting the second half of the page 12. It goes straight to 17, which is the end of the chapter. And for the following chapter, go to pages 2 to 7. Okay. This one, they actually do something unique with this one. Like, they actually throw in about 2 or 3 minutes of stock footage from previous arcs of the series, which is great. I love the fact they did this. Because, well, Toei owns the stock footage, so why the heck not? Yep, so, episode starts off with the Shogun trying to take a bath. He's like, oh, it's like so cold. And one of its attendants like, ow, this thing is hot. It's like boiling hot. And apparently he's cold for some reason, which is quite strange. According to one woman, basically, he should be boiling alive. He should be, like, burned. Apparently he is because he's haunted by the ghost of the 9 retainers. And we kind of figure out exactly what happened to someone who stayed in the present. Of course, Dog, Storm, and Cat Faber did venture back to Zoo. When they don't really say, because they never show exactly how in the world they got back to that island. Yeah, it's kind of weird, because they show what happened. Ashram, he basically survived. He's just off on his own. You see him very briefly leaning at some house, and that's it. A lot of us focus on Denjiro, the former Kendro. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, and there's a little bit more for him where it's completely obvious he's the retainer from the past. In the manga, they kept it hidden. Probably not to spoil the surprise. The anime, yeah, it's clearly him. Or apparently he's overcome by grief by the death of Odin, Toki, Himawari's disappearance, and of course also Momoshiki's disappearance too. Or he's basically punching a wall for a while, his hand starts bleeding, and then of course he basically goes freaking nuts all over the place, and his glasses fall off its place. Yes, his glasses fall off, and then eventually, like his hair was black before, it comes out and it's blue. Yeah, I thought this was kind of weird. Like he steps out and his hair is like blue for some reason. For some reason over the course of a few days, or how much time he spent in that shack. Then apparently he has hairs changed color. And there you see him walking through town. Of course, his outfit's filthy. There are 2 guys trying to accost him, and of course, he basically beats the crap out of them really easily. He asks his name. He says his name is Dendro. Though they cut out the actual, like, next 2 words. In the manga, for it was Kendro the Mad. So, then eventually he has a meeting with Aruchi, which they actually do show he is the actual retainer. Which, that's quite interesting, because that was new to the anime, because in the manga, they didn't show this off. Probably not to spoil the surprise. Though, my guess is maybe the reason why they wanted to basically show us off a little early is so the viewer knows before even Kanjuro, even though, or Kinemon knows, which is quite interesting, the fact that he would do this. Yep. And we see that and we see what happened to Himawari, where she's briefly with Kajuma, and then apparently she ran away from him, and then just by sheer coincidence, she runs into 2 courtesans who bring her to Dendro. And when he sees her, he is shocked to see her. Of course, he knows who she is. And then, of course, over time, he transformed into the country's most important courtesan, Kajima. Yep, he practically in a way raised her. Now, how old he is? Let's see. I think in present he's supposed to be in his 20s. Like, they don't really say how old he is. I mean, it's kind of interesting that over the course of 20 years, he actually looked like he hasn't really changed in appearance. I mean, yeah, he basically looked like he hadn't aged at all. Then, of course, it's shown that Kenro has basically been stealing money and giving it to the Ezra village. Yeah, I'm in case you're curious to why I hear like a little tapping in the microphone, it's because the little volume's going down for some reason. That's basically what's going on here. So, pretty much, basically, like after that, then we finally, after showing like stock footage, what happened next with the people who ran the future, we see what we know before, where Renzo went to zoo, Control got stranded in, of course, Dressrosa. We also see something very interesting though. We revealed that there's a spy in the ranks, hinting at something we'll see next episode of who the spy is. I'm not going to spoil who it is, though I have been spoiling already thanks to the reviews. Though I'm not going to spoil it for people who, well, I kind of already spoiled it already, but I'm not going to spoil it right now. I'll probably feel it next episode. So, we actual stock footage of Punk Hazard, Dressrosa, and the zoo arc, which is great. The fact they actually show actual stock footage. Though in the case of these three arcs, I'd say in the case of the zoo arc, now in the case of Punk Hazard, we actually do see Law slicing up Conjuro. We actually do see it happen, which that's interesting because in the manga they never show this at all. It's implied this happened off screen. And in here, we actually do see him get sliced up, which I like the fact they actually show that because they never showed before, but I thought that was quite interesting to show that. And of course, they show others. Now, that bit, that's complete anime originally. They never showed it before, but here, now they finally show it. And of course, they show briefly of the stuff happening in Dressrosa. It's just brief highlights per se. Like when Kinemon found Kanjuro, but as what happened during the arc itself, well, you have to watch the dub for the actual arc itself to figure out exactly what the heck is going into that arc. Zoo Island, kind of the same thing, very brief. The Zoo Island subject the least amount of stock footage. This basically took up like a minute of screen time. Dressrosa took up at least about, I'd say about the same amount of time. I'd say Punk Hazard probably took the most amount of time. It took about 2 minutes to tell the stock footage for this one. Excuse me. Then we end in present day where Luffy. Yes, we finally see Luffy. For the first time in 17 episodes of the series, we finally see him. Excuse me. And he's preparing for battle. And that's where the thing is, him in the army of 4,200 people, which that's still a lot. And oh boy, stuff crazy is going to happen next week's episode, which is probably going to finish up chapter 974 and go through partially through maybe almost the entirety of from chapter 975. Alright, moving on to the new chapter manga, 1004, The Ham. We see Law answering rid of a tiger. Yep. Chapter starts off with Luffy falling off Kaido's island. Like how you could be joined by either, so. And of course, you kind of like, Master Kaido, we found at Momoshiki. Oh, before I continue, they actually do show in the preview. They actually show not Yamato's face, but Yamato does appear finally in the opening credit sequence, and the pirates apparently that worked for her, the Tenro Pirates, I believe they're called. Yeah, we briefly see him. I thought it was really interesting though for this episode. They actually showed some new footage for the opening style sequence. That's been virtually the same for quite a while. Yeah, it's still the same song, but new visuals, which I thought was really cool. All right. So that we found Momoshiki, and that's the results to all Gasma. And then, of course, well, then we cut to Yamato. Says, like, I spell young Master Yamato. He's carrying Momoshiki. Something's wrong, though. His cuffs are gone. Like, that's right. I'm no longer a prisoner anymore. I am Odin. Shinobu. Yes. It would seem that I truly must not die. And she's like, of course. What do you mean? Of course you must not die. Well, who's that? What is it? Who is it? What is it now? And then we cut to the bottom where apparently we see Queen, like, fighting Chopper. Yeah, he's fighting Chopper in his monster form, which is so awesome. And then apparently we see, like, I thought this was kind of weird. We see Pedro, and then apparently we see Caesar Clown. I'm like, what the heck? Oh, we see a brief flashback of Caesar Clown. Yeah, I thought it was kind of weird. Seeing a flashback of Caesar Clown, hey, is something, because the guy has not appeared since Whole Cake. Ever since he got his heart back. Of course, Queen fires a blast at Chopper, which misses. Pedro, the one who's the oldest son of Big Mom, he pretty much continues his attack. CDI has to look around the place. So basically, now is that the highest bounty enemy to Luffy has lost. Luffy Taro. No. And Marco's like, Straw Hat. It's like, are you kidding? Master Kato snuffed his life out, and now Straw Hat Luffy is fallen to the bottom of the sea. The Koza Samurai and the pirate captain had both fallen. Who would next? Anything else? Master Kato would send and begin to clean up the stragglers. Look like they made mess things, Lin. Did you hear that? Like how it happens at it. And of course you have Tomoko's like, what? Big Bear Luffy. Those who reigns in the arms to surrender with compliance, spare your lives, to service our followers. Robin basically has no reactions. He broke like nothing. And of course we also have Zoro and Sanji saying, screw that. Yep. And then we see Kanjuro. Yes, the guy who, well, at Journey Gets People, I will get to that probably in the anime. And of course, Momo's basically like Wonderland. I must tell everyone. Okay, here, see you again. And of course, you have contrast with Odin. It's like, that's not him. He marches up, and then he stabs Kiko. Yes. We're coming down. Oof. It's only fair that we give you Fado Kaku. Kanjuro, Mr. King. This one has failed. The snow has fallen early. The hour down is close at hand. He's like, don't talk nonsense. No. I'm sure one of those light will shine the way down there. Keen. And he's like, Kanjuro. And of course he slices him up. That's it. And we close curtains on my act. Trying to this freak, it ought to be you. After all, on this stage, we were always best of friends. Yep, and it looks like, though, that Kinemon has killed Kanjuro. And then, of course, Kaido shows up. And he pretty much whacks Kinemon. And then we get the news from Kima. Ozukima has reached Wano mainland. Ooh, another one basically. I'm looking forward to next week's chapter. I gotta say, damn good chapter. But I highly doubt this is the end for Luffy. I highly doubt Oda would have him die because he's the star of the series. Oda would never allow Luffy to die. As for Kanku, I don't think this character will die either. I'm hoping she doesn't die because she's a great character. I would like to see her basically survive this arc and actually go travel with the Straw Hats because I'm sure she's curious about the outside world. Yes, and I would not be surprised though. I know Tamako, she wants to join the group. I would not be surprised if Otama joins because, well, we'll be surprised though if Inori herself actually wants to join the Straw Hat crew as a guest. it's possible Strike Crew's going to get pretty crowded after this arc. Though I've heard rumblings that Carrot might become official member of the crew with this arc. It's possible. She's basically kind of the way a member of the crew anyway, so. And of course, Jinbei's joined the crew already. Yeah, he's basically agreed to fully join the crew, and he's the helmsman. As for what her job is going to be the crew, or we might find out in a later chapter of the manga, probably when the arc finishes up. We're getting close to the finish line here. We're not done with the arc yet, but man, has anybody realized though this arc has been going on for quite a while? Like, oh my gosh, this arc has been going on for quite a while. Like, if you're curious though, like how long officially in the manga this is going on for, this is going on since 909. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, 12, 13. Wow. Here's a surprise for you. This arc is going on for 116 chapters, thus making this arc longer than Dressrosa. That was 112. This is 114. Actually, more like 115. Because this is by far the longest arc of the entire series right now. Yeah, it is quite long. It just surpassed, Dressrosa. Yep. Which we're thinking, oh, that's a bit of a surprise. Yeah, in case you're curious, though, for the anime, for the episodes, it's going to say 890, so it's been going on for almost 100 episodes. And you might be thinking, could this arc, like, anime-wise, surpass Dressrosa? At the rate it's going at, yes! Yes, it will surpass Dressrosa. I mean, it's already the longest arc of the entire series. Mm-hmm. They say it was 100. I think it was like 112. I think it was. Oh yeah, it was 102. This was like 114 chapters. Yeah, it is shocking though, the fact that this arc has pretty much surpassed Dressrosa, which for a long time that was the longest arc in the series. Now it's Wano's turn to surpass that record. Given how epic and how well received this arc is, not surprising how long this arc is going on for. So, how much longer could we see this arc go on for? I'd say, based on the story we got here, I'd say a good 10 to 20 chapters at the latest. That's as far as I think this arc will go on for. What arc will happen next? Don't know. We'll find out in the future, probably the next 4 months, maybe. Okay, so that's it for this particular review. Stay tuned for my review for Boruto, and don't toy me, Miss Nagaro. Yes, that it actually came out today, so expect to see that soon. Okay, next video. Bye.